Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand for the national anthem is picking up steam among other athletes in the NFL. In fact, other players are planning on joining him or have already joined him. Among those who are thinking about possibly sitting during the national anthem once the season begins, we have Cliff Avril and also Doug Baldwin. So there they are, and ESPN interviewed them, and they had some really interesting answers that I want to share with you guys. Wide receiver Doug Baldwin and defensive end Cliff Avril are considering a protest in Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. Avril says, "We're thinking about it. I truly respect what Kaep is doing. I think some people are taking it out of context because they're not experiencing the same thing other people are experiencing. They can't really see it." Also, Doug Baldwin says, "My grandfather being in the military, it hit home for me. It's the veterans that have reached out and said that that's what they fought for. That's what they sacrificed their lives for, was to give people back home under the flag, under the country, the opportunity to stand up or sit down or sit for what they believe in." So there is a little bit of, disagreement among members of law enforcement, obviously, the military. Some see this as extremely disrespectful toward veterans. Others see this as, hey, this is what we fought for your ability to express yourself freely. So you should actually go to Doug Baldwin's Facebook page, because his whole statement on why he's basically decided to support Kaepernick is a great statement, really eloquent, well put. And then on top of that, I actually thought the post underneath it was even better. It talks about how a guy's been stabbed in the street or a woman's been stabbed in the street, and everybody comes in and you go and shout for help, like, somebody help, she's been stabbed. And people come in and say, oh, you're asking for help in a disrespectful way. And he gives like 8 different examples of how you get criticized for trying to get her help. Meanwhile, she's sitting there dying. So obviously it's an analogy for, let's not forget the real problem here, which is unarmed people being shot and it happening to African Americans disproportionately. So as you're worried about how I'm protesting the underlying problem, the bigger problem is the underlying one, where people are actually getting shot and killed. That's a much bigger problem than somebody sitting or standing. So great job by Doug Baldwin. And this, for me as a football fan, this is such an improbable story. At this point, I can't stand Colin Kaepernick as an athlete, or I couldn't. Mm-hmm. Now he's totally swung me and become kind of a civil rights hero in a way. Mm-hmm. I was almost going to say American hero. We're almost getting there, because because that leads to the second improbable part and why this is a really interesting story today. If you don't know football and you don't follow it, the Seahawks and the Niners hate each other. They're in the same division, mm-hmm. And they were famously played against each other in a championship game where Seattle kept taunting Kaepernick until he threw a pick at the end. And then they rubbed his face in it. So the Seahawks hate Kaepernick, and Kaepernick hates the Seahawks. So for the Seahawks, almost in their entirety, with Bobby Wagner, and by the way, another Seahawk player was the first player to sit as well as Colin Kaepernick in a preseason game. Mm-hmm. So he was the first one to join. Now you've got all these other Seahawks joining. Wow, what a turn of events. This is like the Celtics and the Lakers deciding to do some political action together back when they hated each other. The Red Sox and the Yankees holding hands to do some sort of political action. Mm-hmm. And I also can't stand Doug Baldwin as a player, but now all of a sudden I love Doug Baldwin. So, and here they are, and they're doing something positive in the world and drawing attention to an issue that desperately needs it. That's why people are so angry at them. Oh, it's uncomfortable. Don't make us look at it. And they're like, yes, well, oh yeah, you love football? We're going to make you look at it. Oh, it's my favorite part of the story, right? Like, the rivalry stuff is cool, I guess. But what I really love is that, you have people in America who love football. It's an all-American sport. It's part of their identity. And the athletes that they admire are Black individuals who feel personally under attack by our current system, who feel like their communities are, being targeted by law enforcement. And so now they're bringing this issue to you, and you're forced to deal with it. You're forced to acknowledge it because you're confronted with it, right? And I love that it's making people uncomfortable.
And look at the consequences that have flowed from it. So tonight, the NFL season starts. As a football fan, I'm super psyched. Dun, 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 right? And I can't wait to go watch the game. And I'm watching it with my son, and this is, this is America. We're gonna have Coke, Doritos. We're gonna watch the game. It's gonna be great. But in the midst of that, political speech and the right to protest is just as American, and dare I say, more American than the NFL. It's in our Constitution. It's kind of what the whole country was set up around. So, and my favorite consequence that flows from it is now the white veterans. Now, look, black veterans stepped up big time and said, hey, don't speak for me. I went and risked my life, and I risked my life so that we can have progress, so that we can have a better America, and so that you can all protest in any way you like. It's called freedom. That's what we fought for. But right along with them were so many white veterans. And Baldwin quoted one, and he was so powerful and so strong in that first Facebook post that he put up. And in all the things, he's like, I got a responsibility. I went to war with other Americans, black, white, etc., right? And we got to be a team together. And we got to stand up together and make this country better. If you don't get the value of that, you're missing the whole point of the country, and you don't want to see it. It makes you uncomfortable. You just want everybody to stop talking about it because you think it doesn't really affect me, so I wish you'd shut up about it already. And that is an enormously selfish way to look at it. Final thing, look, not every African American agrees, of course, but an overwhelming majority of the African American community says that the police do abuse them, do kill them disproportionately, and by the way, they can prove it out, arrest them disproportionately when the amount of crime being committed, the famous one that I always talk about, marijuana use, same for whites and blacks, okay, dealing, same as whites and blacks, but blacks get arrested 4 times. You think it's disrespectful to sit during the national anthem? Isn't it so much more disrespectful to say to almost the entire African American community in the country, you're all liars, we don't believe you? When you say you're being abused and shot and killed and harassed and arrested, we don't believe you. We think you're all liars.
Yeah.
That is 1,000 times more disrespectful.
Well, they know that, but they don't think the black community is worthy of respect. I mean, that's part of the problem, which is why, the stories regarding police brutality have been ongoing for years now, and there seems to be no solution. I mean, there have been some solutions, so I don't want to be completely negative on that. But you have people completely denying it because they kind of like what's going on. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, if you had asked who's going to be the American hero, Russell Wilson or Colin Kaepernick, there's not a football fan that would have answered Kaepernick a year ago. Everybody would have answered Russell Wilson, the quarterback for the Seahawks, who's like more of a goody two-shoes guy, right? Well, here we are back in Ali Frazier. These are really interesting times.
Yeah.
Hashtag I sit with Kaepernick. If you're upset with mainstream media, we have the alternative for you. Come build independent media with us. Your membership powers the Young Turks. tytnetwork.com/join.